When you start growing, there becomes a point where you stop asking, how do I keep my plants alive? And start asking, how do I get the absolute best out of them? That's when you realise it's not just about the basics, like ventilation, nutrients, and light. It's about mastering your environment. The right airflow, the right temperature, and the right intake and outtake. That's what separates a decent harvest from an exceptional one. If you want to level up your grow, you've got to think about optimization, automation, and efficiency. Instead of reacting to problems as they happen, controllers allow you to prevent them from happening in the first place. They give you the power to fine-tune your setup with surgical precision. But here's where things get tricky. Most ventilation companies will only sell you a fan controller that works with their brand of fan. So if you're running a mixed setup or fancy upgrading to a different brand, you're stuck. For growers who really want to build their knowledge and expand their skill set and really take control of their environment, that's a huge limitation. This is where G.A.S breaks the mold. Instead of locking you into one ecosystem, we've designed a range of controllers that are cross-compatible. They work with a variety of fans across multiple different brands, which means you've got the freedom of choice. You can mix and match your gear, upgrade at your own pace, and still have complete control over your environment. Now let's have a look at the lineup. The AC1 is your straightforward, reliable fan controller for AC fans. It's simple, effective, and rock solid. And the EC1, on the other hand, is your gateway into intelligent EC control. It adds responsive features without overcomplicating things. Both fan controllers are thermostatically controlled and allow you to regulate your fan's speed. But what if you're running a bigger setup? That's where G.A.S steps up again with controllers that allow you to run multiple fans at the same time. And that's where things get interesting. When you've got more than one fan in play, you're not just controlling airflow, you're finally managing a delicate balance. Because if your intake and your outtake fans aren't working properly together, that's when you can run into something called positive pressure. So before we go any further, let's hand it over to Andrew, who's going to explain what positive pressure is, why you need to avoid it, and how the right setup can solve it.
So positive pressure in the grow room tends to occur if you've got an intake fan and an exhaust fan. If the intake fan is putting in more air than the exhaust fan's removing, then in a tent you can see it blow its sides out. Now this is bad because if there's anything that smells inside the tent, then the smells will escape into the outside environment and the carbon filter won't be doing the job that it's supposed to be doing. The way you can combat this, with a tent in particular, it's very easy, is to slow down your intake fan or speed up your exhaust fan, and then you should see the sides of the tent just slowly draw in, and that's perfect negative pressure. If you're going in a room and not a tent, the simple way you can tell if you've got positive pressure is to put a Rizzler paper over a keyhole, or to blow some smoke around any holes that you have in your room. If the smoke gets drawn in, you have negative pressure. If it's blown out, then you've got positive pressure, which again could lead to smells escaping. Also, if you're going in a room, if it's extreme positive or negative pressure, if you have an actual door and you open the door and it's hard to open, then that's really bad negative pressure. That's maybe too much, and that'll be restricting the airflow on your exhaust fan. If when you open the door it flies open, then that's positive pressure, and again, you need to speed up your exhaust fan to create the perfect negative pressure. So using the correct controllers, the correct size fan and filters on your intake and your exhaust, you should be able to tune in your negative pressure perfectly for your perfect grow environment.
Now that we've covered the importance of negative pressure, let's look at the G.A.S range of controllers that control both intake and outtake fans at the same time. Let's start with the EC Speed. It's the entry-level controller for managing the speeds of your intake and outtake fans. It's not thermostatic, but for growers who like to keep hands-on, it's rock solid and reliable. Next up, we have the EC2. It allows you to control minimum and maximum fan speeds while having an offset dial. The offset dial allows you to easily regulate negative pressure without having to manually adjust each fan. It does this by offsetting your intake fan against your outtake fan, creating negative pressure. The whole controller is tied together with a thermostatic sensor. This means it consistently changes your fan speeds depending on the temperature of your grow room. It's a great controller for growers looking to set up once and then leave it running. But if you want even greater control over your grow room, you should look at the EC5. The EC5 takes all the benefits of the EC2 while making it smarter and easier to manage. It's got reactive temperature technology, which means it reacts faster to changes in temperature whilst avoiding fan surges. Unlike the EC2, the EC5 allows you to set the speeds of your intake and outtake fans independently. And if that's not enough, it's got an OLED display which allows you to see what your fans are doing at a glance. It's a great controller, but it's not the best. If you only want the best for your grow room, then you need to look at the AC EC Controller, the ultimate controller in the G.A.S Controller range. What makes it so special? Well, first off, it's one of the only controllers that run both AC and EC fans together. So if you've upgraded one fan but not the other, the AC EC will keep them both in sync. It doesn't just control fan speeds either. It looks after temperature, humidity, and even has day and night settings thanks to its built-in light sensor. And remember Andrew's bit about negative pressure? Well, this controller has a built-in fan balancer, which means you can set your outtake fan a little stronger than your intake and really lock it in. No leaks, no smells, no stress. Basically, the AC EC controller is like putting your grow room on autopilot. Whether you're mixing AC and EC or juggling temperature and humidity, or just chasing the quietest, most efficient setup, this one controller does it all. Now that we've covered our range of fan controllers that G.A.S has to offer, I'll hand you over to Ian to show you how to set them up.
Thanks for that, Jasmine. What I'm going to do now is go through each individual G.A.S fan controller and just show you how they work. I'm going to start with the AC one, a really simple AC fan controller. Basically plug it into the mains, plug the fan into this side. You've got a temperature setting on this side and a minimum speed on that side. All you're doing is basically setting the temperature you want your room to run at, and you set a minimum speed. The minimum speed is generally when the lights are turned off and you're below set temperature. The fan will just slowly move, taking air out of a room, replacing it with good fresh air. When the lights kick on, the temperature will increase. When the temperature gets 2 degrees below what you've set it at, you'll come out of minimum speed. And at the temperature you've set at, it will be at full speed. So you've got about a 2 degrees bandwidth. Really easy to use. Just plug the fan in the front and you're up and running. Again, it's just an AC fan controller. Then you've got the simple dimmer. All you do with this is an EC dimmer. You've got 2 different cables, so you can run 2 fans on here, and literally all you have an intake and an outtake fan speed. Set them and it will just run at that speed. Really simple controller for people who are in and out of the room a lot. Set these where they need to be. Really easy. Then you go to the EC1. The EC1 is a thermostatic controller for an EC fan. Really great little controller this for one EC fan. Plug your fan into this side, plug it into the mains. That's your EC output, 0 to 10 volts comes out of there. Temperature probe on here, so that's measuring the temperature within the grow room. And what you have here, you have your minimum fan speed. So you set where the minimum fan speed needs to be. You set the maximum fan speed. If you don't want to be running full speed, you can turn that down a little bit. And then you set your temperature. Let's say you set your temperature to 28. So how this will work, you'll be running at minimum speed when you're below set temperature. When you get 2 degrees below set temperature, it will come out of minimum speed and ramp up to where your maximum speed is set. Then you jump to the EC2. The EC2 a little bit more complicated, but still really easy to use. It's got the same probe as the EC1. You've got the temperature on the right hand side, so again you set that to around about 28. You set your minimum and your maximum fan speeds such like this, and then you have the offset. So the offset is the intake fan speed is on this side. So what it's going to be doing, this outtake fan will be running at whatever these 2 dials are set at. When you come out of set temperature, it will ramp up to full speed, and the negative of it offtake will always run below the outtake fan. That's simply because you don't want positive pressure in the room if you're using an intake fan. By having that offset, you'll always be running below the outtake fan speed. Great little controller if you're using an intake fan only for EC, remember. What we've got here is the EC5. Again, great little controller. You have the outtake and the intake completely separate with the 3-pond plugs in. That's for all the G.A.S EC system air fans. What you have on the left-hand side is the intake minimum and maximum, and the outtake minimum maximum. It's great for fine tuning because you can actually set the outtake minimum and the maximum there so you don't get more positive pressure, but you can also increase your outtake fans if you want to make sure you're moving air through your room. You've got a temperature dial on the front with the digital screen on there. It's the same as all the other controllers. It's 2 degrees hysteresis. That means that 26, 2 degrees below set temperature, it will come out of minimum speed and be at full speed at whatever you've set it at. So if it's set at 28, 26 degrees, it'll come out of minimum speed and be at full speed at 28, trying to get that temperature down. When it drops below 28, it will dim down to 26. When it gets to 26, you'll go back down to minimum speed. Really great little fan controllers. The whole range works very similar, but we all have different price structures and they all work for different fans. Single fans, double fans, intake, outtake fans. We've got an AC EC controller in the G.A.S fan controller range, and I think it's the best fan controller that we do. These fan controllers are absolutely great. They're price sensitive and they do a job. But this one does absolutely everything you could possibly need from a fan controller. It's AC EC, so if you've still got the AC fans, you can run AC tech. If you've got the EC fans, you can run EC. If you're mixing the tech AC and EC, this fan controller is for you. I'll go into it a little bit of a deep dive. It's all on this toggle. So this is a rotary switch. So literally just to open it up, you just need to turn it, and we'll go through the menu bit by bit and I'll show you how it works. So what we've got here, I'll go back to the main menu. So it's saying at the moment it's 17.5 degrees in here, a little bit chilly. And at the moment it's saying that it's daylight because it's picking the daylight up in the room. Remember, this is a temperature, humidity, and a day and night controller. So the probe measures all those three things. All you gotta do is scroll this way, and what you can see there, we're at 17.6, 57% humidity, and we're looking at trying to get 24 degrees. All you have to do when you scroll through is open it up, and that's the temperature we're trying to get to. So I'll quickly scroll this up, and I'll take that to 28. And then to save it, you click and move on. Just keep moving. Now it's saying this is your bandwidth. We talked about a 2 degrees bandwidth on everything else. You can open this up even further, so you can turn that to 4 degrees. That means it's set to 28 degrees. That means at 24 degrees, it will come out of minimum speed and slowly ramp up, so it gives you a bigger buffer when you set that at a broader bandwidth. Then you've got humidity. What you want your humidity to be in your room, 60%. I'll open that up. I'll take it all the way up to 75. Again, click and save, that's done. So I'll scroll to the bandwidth. So that bandwidth is set at 10% for my humidity. This is your minimum fan speed. So I want to get my minimum fan speed. I'll turn this up to, let's say, 35%. Click. So my minimum fan speed is now set at 35. My maximum fan speed is set at 100. What I'm going to do, I'll reduce that just for here. I don't want my fan to be on full whack, so I'm going to turn that down to 90%. Click the button again. Keep on scrolling. I'm now in the night time because that's got a little moon there. So that means I'm set at 24 degrees at night. Not a bad one, I'll leave it at 24. Again, get the bandwidth, maybe make that 4%, same as the daytime. So that means it will come out of sleep mode at 4% less than my set speed. Humidity at night, let's say that I want to set that a little bit higher as well. Let's set that to 70. Like I said, I don't want it to realistically be trying to dump that humidity. Got my bandwidth at night on my humidity again, that's set at 10%, that's fine. Minimum fan speed at night. When everything turns off, I want a bit of air moving through my room, so I'm going to set that to 20%, so I'll leave that as it is. Then I want to go with maximum speed at night. What I'll do, I'll just turn that down. I don't want to be too noisy. I'll turn that down to, let's say, 70%. So my fan will never go above 70% at night. If it's noisy, you got neighbours, things like that at the night time, I'll stick that to 70. I'll turn to the next setting. The next setting is by negative pressure from my intake fan. You can really reduce that down so it follows the outtake fan, but at a slower speed. Take that to 30%, or you can actually have a smaller intake fan than an outtake fan and set that at 0. So whatever is happening with my outtake fan, my intake fan is doing the same thing. Then you've got the nighttime switch from like a light monitor. So at the minute it's set at 10%. 10% is fine, I'll just turn that to 15%. That means it will see 15% light before it switches between the day and night setting. And then how long before it switches from the day to the night time. Let's say you want your fans to slowly turn down, not automatically turn off because you've still got heat from the light. what will happen, the night will come in, so the lights will go off. It will monitor that. It will then slowly turn the fans to the nighttime settings. Depends how long that wants to be. Comes standard at 120 seconds, but you can turn that up all the way up to 300 seconds or something like that. So I'll leave it at 150. That means 150 seconds, the fans will go into nighttime mode and you're back to the main menu. Seems complicated, but it's literally touch, turn, change, touch, change, change. There are about 10 different menus on it, but they're really, really self-explanatory in my opinion. Great little controller. It's got brackets built in, so really, really easy to hang. It's got a heat sink in the back, so if you're running AC fans, they can create a little bit of heat on the triac what's in there. So basically that'll take the heat out of the unit. That's it for the AC fan controller. This is the G.A.S range of fan controllers. Back to Jasmine in the studio.
So there you have it, the full G.A.S controller range. From the simple AC1 all the way to the AC-EC, there's a G.A.S controller for everyone. The key thing to remember with the G.A.S controller range is that you're not just locked into one brand. You've got the freedom to mix and match, upgrade, while still keeping your control of your environment. In the next episode, we'll be showing you the Rhino fan controllers and showing you why they're such a strong brand. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe, like, and drop us a comment down below, letting us know which fan controller from G.A.S is your favourite.